Kevon Looney got sick of playing for the Golden State Warriors. Why? We'll tell you on today's Locked On Dubs.
You are Locked On Warriors, your daily Golden State Warriors podcast.
What are they going to say now?
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is the good word, everyone? Welcome to Locked On Warriors, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. We're free and available wherever you get your audio podcasts. And check us out on YouTube. If you're hanging out with us right now on this live edition of Locked On Dubs, make sure you give us a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. It is free. It helps the show and helps you connect with 17,000 other Golden State Warriors fans on this program. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now is a great time to join FanDuel because new customers can get $150 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. My name's Charlie Walter, credentials formerly of 95.7 The Game in the Bay Area. That's the flagship of the Golden State Warriors and covered the team on TV for CBS. The rundown on today's show: Kevon Looney and the love lost. We'll get into that. A Vegas three-party from an unexpected source. Why Utah star Gabe Madsen is kind of an intriguing potential two-way guy. We'll debate the pros and cons there. Curry does not win in Tahoe, but does finish top 5. Still a very good golfer. LeBron James? What? Why are we talking about LeBron James? We'll spend a few minutes on that. And then the Buddy Hield effect. Some good words for Buddy Hield on today's show and why we are really sleeping on what Buddy meant to the season last year. And it was high and it was low. There was really nothing in between. But Buddy Hield won the Warriors a lot of games. We're going to give Buddy a little deep dive. But let's start with Kevon Looney, who is now a member of the New Orleans Pelicans. He was on the show with Marcus Thompson on the Plus Minus pod. And the biggest takeaway that I had from this was just that Loon was not happy with how his role went a season ago, and rightfully so, right? Didn't hold back on his frustration, which is kind of unlike Loon. You know, I would say he's pretty soft-spoken for the most part. Doesn't really vent usually, and he did on this pod. Said he felt like a low ball offer was coming and the team wasn't mad about seeing him go. When he talked to the Warriors brass, they basically were like, oh, we're going to miss you. Thanks for everything that you do. But didn't necessarily say like, no, don't sign with New Orleans. Don't go. They said none of that. Basically, Looney had no idea what the team wanted his role to be a season ago. And he wasn't wrong. He had multiple playoff games where he played only 2 minutes, then was asked to play 13, then 5 minutes, then 18. It was very inconsistent, and it was that way a lot of the season. Let's not forget in the wintertime, he was basically asked to take DNPs, him and Kyle Anderson, because that rotation was up to, 13, 14 players, and Kerr said we need to shrink this thing, and he was on the chopping block. Came back into play a few games after the DNPs and had some really big performances for the Warriors. But for the most part, it did seem like the last few seasons that the Warriors front office, and not just few seasons, 5 seasons, dating back to James Wiseman, they kept trying to replace him, and he just kept outplaying most of the players that they tried to replace him with. So here's the quote. I thought y'all would trust me. Y'all really don't think I'm good no more. What's the problem? Either you trust me or you don't. And Marcus Thompson asked him, Loon, you're kind of known as someone that comes in when the Warriors are in trouble and does the dirty work and provides some relief in that way. You wear the cape. And he said, you get sick of that at some point. You either trust me or you don't. Said it's not personal with Steve Kerr. He knows that Kerr is just doing whatever it takes to win, but did not like how his minutes were fluctuated, did not like the fact that Quentin Post, and he said, Quentin's my boy, but I did not, it felt like it was anyone but me. He said in the playoffs, I didn't get my chance to do what I do. It felt like the team did not trust me. he added that they put him in game 7, and that was his time to really shine against Steven Adams. That's what he does, right? And basically said he's tired of being the guy a team calls on when they're in trouble. He wants a bigger role. Now, will he get that with the New Orleans Pelicans? It's hard to see it that way, considering they have the same quagmire that the Warriors have, which is other bigs and just players on their team that can't necessarily shoot the ball. So you need someone to be able to stretch the floor and knock down shots. And remember, last offseason, there was actually talk that Loon was going to expand his game and he was going to shoot threes, and we did not really see that at all during the season nor the playoffs. But listening to the Loon interview, it felt like half an indictment of Kerr and then half an indictment of the front office, because they were trying to replace him year after year. Kerr at the same time didn't. And let's go back to 2022, after he was one of the most important players and unsung players in that championship run. He signs a 3-year deal worth $25.5 million. That was the highest salary of his career. It amounted to $8 million this past season in 24-25, which is what he will be making for the New Orleans Pelicans. And it was clear that he was not going to get that type of money for Golden State. So he, much like Klay Thompson, doesn't even wait for the offer. He just, basically says, sayonara. Here's what I'm doing. I'm gone. And he didn't hold back. He let out some frustration for sure. Obviously still loves his time with the organization, but he didn't really want a part of having his minutes jerked around. And granted, there are players, specifically one player that a lot of the commenters on this show comment about having minutes jerked around, and you could say Moses Moody as well. But one thing's for certain: if your name's Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, or even Buddy Hield, for the most part, your minutes are usually pretty consistent. Kevon Looney was not one of those players. He had games where he would play 2 minutes. He had games where he would play 20 minutes. And there were just far and few in between where he played a consistent 16, 16, 16, 18 and knew his role. So you can't blame Kevon Looney for not wanting to do this for another season. Like he said, Quentin Post was getting some more playing time than him, or at least even late in the year, a rookie. And then Trace Jackson Davis got brought into the fold in the Minnesota series. So, yeah, can't blame him. I wouldn't want any part of it either. But let's also look at it from the Warriors side. Kevon Looney wasn't someone that you had to play, right? I mean, there's reasons why he only got 5 minutes in certain games and 15 in others. He brings a specific skill set to the table. When you want some toughness, when you want some grit, that's what he gives you. When you want some offensive scoring and you want someone that can knock down shots on the perimeter to stretch the floor, that's not what Kevon Looney is going to do. So anyways, Kevon, we salute you again. Just had to kind of relay what he said on this podcast, basically saying that the end of his time with the Warriors got a little bit sour, and that, he's happy to try something new. Happy to be in New Orleans and play with his guy, Jordan Poole. Coming up on the show, we're getting into a little summer league action. Why I have seen enough from a couple of the players that the Warriors could have drafted to give Mike Dunleavy a letter down. On the last show, I gave him an A grade for his time as GM of the Dubs. I'm going to bring it down to a B because of legit one off-season trade, to where I think the Warriors missed out on a couple of players that were sitting there at 41 that look good in the summer league that I think are going to be good. And I have not been impressed with Alex Tui whatsoever. Will Richard, verdict is yet to be seen, in my opinion, but that's what we're discussing coming up. Plus Buddy Hield, the effect, the experience. Buddy is our buddy. He also can be a nightmare at times, but we're going to talk about why Buddy Hield is an important player on this year's upcoming team. That's all ahead on Locked On Warriors. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Let me tell you a little bit about FanDuel. Summer sports are in full swing, and whether you're about baseball under the lights, golf on the green, or high-stakes soccer action, FanDuel's the best way to make every game even more exciting. You're already following the action. Why not make it a little more thrilling? With FanDuel, you can get in on the game while your friends are getting sunburned on the beach. I've been using FanDuel to track my favorite matchups, and the app keeps it fresh with new daily promotions all the time that make fun ways to bet and give you a little sprinkle in your account. It's easy to use, fast to pay out, and makes even regular season games feel like must-watch events. New to FanDuel, new customers, you bet $5, you'll get 150 in bonus bets if your first bet wins. So open the FanDuel app today or visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, let's talk a little Summer League. Actually, we can't go Summer League before the LeBron James report. Not going to spend much time on this because it's not a Siegel bomb. It's per Scoop B on Twitter, but it's a report, so we're at least going to mention it. It says that the Mavericks, the Warriors, the Cavaliers, and the Clippers have all contacted Rich Paul about trading for LeBron James. What are we doing here? How the hell are we going to get LeBron James to the Bay Area? Would it be fun? I mean, it's entertainment at the end of the day. National Basketball Association is entertainment, and it would be entertaining to see LeBron James on the same floor as Steph Curry. We've been talking about it for a while now, but do we actually think this is going to happen? Hell no. Absolutely not. I will do this show with my shirt off if he's traded to the Golden State Warriors. Clip it. Do the entire thing with my shirt off. All right, Summer League now. On the last show, I said Mike Dunleavy gets an A for the job he's done, and I'm lowering it to a B. From a flat A to a flat B, a full letter grade down, because I think he butchered the draft this year. I truly do. I've seen some of the players that the Dubs passed on at 41, and it's a weird situation, right? You trade the pick it was before the second round. It was before the first pick of the second round. The Warriors had traded the pick. So they're still 11 picks away. You don't know who's going to be available. The mindset was, well, we need players on the cheap. 2 is better than 1. Let's take a stab at a couple guys instead of just 1. Kobe Brea went 41. He's from Kentucky, now plays for the Phoenix Suns. He has looked awesome. Granted, Summer League, but he has looked awesome. Had 19 points on 4 or 5 from 3 on Friday, an efficient 15 on Sunday. I legit think he's someone that would have been able to help from day one. That could have carved out a roster spot and been another shooter off the bench and added some size at 6'7". Meanwhile, up in the Capitol, Maxime Reyno, the defense we'll see, but offensively, he looks like an NBA-ready player. He's got game. He can pack a punch. He's putting up 15 every night for the Kings and grabbing some rebounds, and that ball fake that was so damn good off the closeouts in college is translating to at least the Summer League, and he's knocking down threes, and he's, taking it the other way in transition and throwing it down, and he's a legit 7-1. And granted, you have Quentin Post, and we believe Al Horford as well, so maybe it didn't make sense in that regard. But compare him to who the Warriors have, and that is Alex Tui, and he's really, really struggled. Does not seem like even a two-way player at this point. And there's a lot of time, right? He's 21 years of age. He comes from Australia. This is his first look at, NBA players for the most part. But he seems slow. The game looks fast. Slow on his feet and the game looking fast is not a good combo. The shot hasn't been falling. The plus minus has been pretty brutal. The defense he seems like he's a pretty good defender. The handle's been a little bit shaky. Is throwing some passes into the popcorn vendors. Again, a lot of time for him to develop. He's clearly not someone that they brought in to be a finished product this year. And it's 6'8" with a little bit of handles. You add in some size at the small forward position. But Kobe Brea, this isn't a full knock on Alex Tui. It's more a testament to the player that I think Kobe Brea and Maxime Reyno, the players that they are at this given moment, and how I think they could have helped this upcoming season. Now, if Will Richard is a really good connecting piece that can get a contract or can carve out a role on a two-way, then maybe it's a different story. But trading 41 for a couple picks in the 50s that haven't necessarily impressed me to a strong degree, while the other two that were sitting there are very impressive. That's a tough move. Hindsight's always 20/20. You don't know those two players are going to be there when you trade the pick. Clearly, Maxime wasn't someone that they were even looking at. But, man, Kobe Bryant would be nice in a Warriors uniform, and instead he is in Phoenix right now. One player that I'm intrigued by is Gabe Madsen. And in the chat, you can help me with the Gabe Madsen tracker right now. This podcast is being recorded as the Summer League game is in the second half, but I'd seen enough. I'd seen enough from the first half to make Gabe Madsen a serious topic on today's show. He's a 6'5" sharpshooter that I thought was one of the best in the country in college, although the stats don't necessarily back that up. He's 25 years old. He hit 6 3-pointers in the first half in Vegas against the Utah Jazz in the Summer League game. 6 of 7. Quick trigger. I mean, catch, shoot, bam. Quick. Doesn't need much space at all. Relocates really well. Can handle it a little. Wasn't paying attention enough to his defense to make a statement one way or the other. But I would imagine that if he could defend at a really high level, he would probably be on more people's radars for a two-way contract or something like that. But he's intriguing. Warriors need shooters. Dunleavy, Curve said it. They need shooters, especially in the system. And I've known about him for a minute. He got a cup of coffee for my Cincinnati Bearcats before like the COVID year hit and things just got a little bit weird. And he sat out the year and just said, see ya, I'm going to Utah. And his brother stayed at UC for a little, but went to Utah, played 4 years in the Big 12, averaged 15 points and shot nearly 10 threes a game last season. He was a chucker, heat check guy, career 36% shooter from deep, shot just 32% last season, which is not great, but his 85% free throw shooting backs up that he can shoot. And I promise you, I've seen this guy enough. He can shoot and he can heat up in a hurry. He just happened to play for a bad Utah team that was just like, hey, take 14 shots, take 14 threes and shoot us in the game or shoot us out of the game. But if he's in a system where it's just, hey, get open, use Steph's gravity, catch and shoot in your 10 minutes per night, I don't know. I'm intrigued. I have to see more of him. Obviously, I'm not a decision maker in this process. But if you want shooting, he's that. He's catching fire. Who are your other two-way candidates? I mean, Armstrong's got to be up there. Jackson Rowe, LJ Cryer, Will Richard. I don't think Tui is personally. Add Gabe Madsen to the mix. And then there's another name that's actually been unreal. I thought he's played really well, but his name's escaping me right now. And honestly, I'm just going to move on with the show instead of looking it up because I don't think it matters that much, frankly. Summer League basketball. And the story from Vegas on Sunday night was Gabe Madsen, who had 6 threes early. Let's see what the chat has, if they've updated me on his shooting. It doesn't look like anyone's watching right now. You're watching me. You're not watching the Summer League. Who cares, right? Who cares? Although I will say a lot of Warriors apparently care, or they just want the free trip to Vegas because I saw Santos there. Quentin Post is there. Draymond Green walked into the building. So some of the big hitters are in Vegas right now watching some ball. Steph Curry's not. He was in Tahoe with a pitching wedge, just lobbing them up there on the green. What can he do? Well, he couldn't win the tournament this season, but did finish in the top 5. We'll discuss who won, Bay Area guy, and why Buddy Hield was a big X factor a season ago that no one really talks about that much, frankly. I want to give him his flowers. It's coming up on Locked On Warriors. All right, I'm serious now. Hungryroot is awesome stuff. I've been using it for a while now. Let's be honest, meal planning and grocery shopping, it can be overwhelming. You got busy schedules, sometimes picky eaters. You want to eat healthy, and that's where Hungryroot comes into play. So what you do is you basically go on the website. You have options of meals that you can pick. And in those meals, So let's say you want like a chicken kale salad or whatever, because it takes 5 minutes to make. They give you the 4 items that come in the meal. And then if you have, let's say, the dressing at home or something like that, you could take that out of the shopping cart and just get what you need. But it'll put the meals together for you. They got 5-minute meals, they got 20-minute meals, 30-minute meals. You can pick based off like high protein, low carb, whatever. You can also do just some standard grocery shopping. They give you a free item in every box. I'm serious now. I've tried a lot of meal delivery services. Hungryroot is the best because it's as easy as you need it to be. Sure, you can go with the delicious meals for 40 minutes, or you can go with a meal that gets the job done, still tastes good and is fresh with pre-cooked proteins for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Take advantage of this exclusive offer for a limited time. Get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA and use code LockedOnNBA. And I'm telling you, that free item in every box is like a pack of turkey or a chicken breast or a big thing of a pound of shrimp. Like, it's good stuff. Hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA, code LockedOnNBA to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. Do me a favor, check out Hungryroot, give them a try, see if you like it. We'll be right back. All right, let's discuss Buddy Hield for a little bit. I guess before we get to Buddy Hield, may as well touch up on what Steph Curry did. That's the actual news, right? It actually happened on Sunday, whereas Buddy, all his stuff happened months ago. Steph Curry did come up short in the American Century Championship final round in South Lake Tahoe. He won this tournament in 2023, will not be hoisting it this year. Finished with a score of 58. That's good enough for 5th place. The San Jose Sharks legend Joe Pavelski was the victor. He had 73 points. It's his first ACC win in 9 tries after he finished in second in 2022 and 2024. But Curry can golf, top 5, and had some beautiful shots, frankly. But we were on Curry watch to see if he was going to get another title, and he does not. It's Joe Pavelski who hoists the trophy. We're still waiting on DeAnthony Melton and Al Horford. All signs have pointed to them being Warriors once the financial situation is not as sticky, aka once something happens with Jonathan Kuminga. Then we know exactly how much they can be paid. And of course, that's kind of a sticking point in signing them. Kind of important. So they can't really do that right now. And the fact that Horford hasn't announced retirement and DeAnthony Melton hasn't been signed by the Lakers or anyone else, and all the reports are that they're going to be Warriors, that there's nothing that has made us change our mind through the last 10 days or whatever. Because, I mean, this Al Horford thing, this was 2 weeks ago that we're reporting he's all but a Warrior. So we're still waiting on it. And DeAnthony Melton, we know, would be a good fit, but everyone's acting like the Warriors' hot start last season was solely due to DeAnthony Melton, the 12-3 start. And once Melton went down, the vibes changed. And I disagree. I mean, he played in 6 games and was good in those games that he played. And obviously he goes down, and it's bringing Lindy Waters, who's not nearly as good as DeAnthony Melton, to play a role for the Warriors. But I think it was due to the start to Buddy Hield, and we do not look at that nearly enough. I mean, he is such an interesting player. He won the Warriors so many games last year, legit. Averaged 17 points and 45% from 3 in his first 19 games. So it's not a coincidence that it fell in line with the team's hot start. They started off 12-3 in his first 19 games. I just mentioned 45% from 3. I believe, I don't know the exact number when the season had ended, but it's safe to say it was around 18-1 were the Warriors when Buddy Hield scored more than 18 in a game. It was their secret sauce. I told you, put that one on a Mondo burger. You don't need to steal ads. Just get Buddy's secret sauce. 18 points in a game. You're good. The Dubs were so bad last year in December and January. So bad. A lot of it had to do with Curry just not playing well. But Buddy was terrible in those months. Shot 30% from three and 36% from the floor, but pretty consistently got 20 minutes because Steve Kerr knows that he can change a game, which is why Buddy is such an experience. If you sit him for a bad start to a game, you could miss a heat check. And we got heat checks galore in the playoffs. Won the Warriors game 7 against the Rockets. Maybe not solely, but he was the biggest factor in winning that game. He had 33. Went 9 of 11 in game 7 against the Rockets. Really put the game away with just dagger after dagger after dagger. He was awesome. Then had 24 in game 1 against Minnesota. Then followed it up with 15 and 14 in his first 3 against Minnesota before he kind of fell back down to earth and really did nothing. And that's the Buddy Hield experience. You never know what you're going to get. It's like Forrest Gump's box of chocolates. You know, sometimes you open it up and you have one with nougat and you're like, that's pretty good. And then next one, you know, it's like the one with the cherry that's just disgusting. You take a bite and everyone throws it in the trash. Buddy Hield's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. Feast or famine. Played only 15 minutes in the first 2 games of the Rockets series, then would go for 30 minutes for a few, then struggled to shoot in games, and he would play 15. Truly a walking heat check. If he misses like his first 4 threes, you just may not see Buddy Hield again. And there was a time last year where I just didn't know the full Buddy Hield experience. I hadn't seen him for a full season to where I was so out on Buddy Hield. I was like, I've seen enough of him. Sit his ass on the bench. He's useless. He can't even shoot. And then he just goes through the stretch where it's like, oh my God, Buddy Hield is awesome. The vibes are amazing. He's Alfred. He's winning the press conferences. He's amazing with Jimmy Butler. They're hysterical together. I love Buddy Hield. So what a difference a year makes. I think last year, the most hate comments I ever got on the show was slandering Buddy Hield's name, saying, Buddy Hield, come on, what are we doing now? And for a large portion of the season, I gave myself a pat on the back. It felt like a correct take. Obviously not at the beginning of the year, obviously not at the end of the year, but the winter months, it felt like a correct take. But going into this year, I now know what to expect with Buddy Hield. Hate him and love him. Sometimes in the same game, he makes some head-scratching plays. He's not the tightest ball handler in the world by any means, but damn it, can that man shoot? And he won the Warriors a lot of games last season, and he will likely do the same thing this year. Buddy Hield, a player we have not really talked about a lot this offseason, especially since we've mentioned other players in trades, and Buddy Hield's someone that, you know, makes a little bit of money to the point where he could be someone that's thrown in a trade, but I think the Warriors like him. I think we're going to see Buddy Hield in the Warriors uniform next year, and frankly, he's actually the Warrior that is signed the longest out of anyone. A year after Jimmy, Curry, and Draymond's contracts run out, it's just Buddy Hield on the books. It's going to be like that meme from Fresh Prince where Will Smith walks into the house and looks at, where'd everybody go? It's going to be Buddy Hield as last year. Has options galore towards the end of his time with the Warriors to where we don't know if he'll last that long or what's up. But what we do know is that, I don't know about you, I guess, but for me, I feel a lot better about Buddy entering this season than I did a year ago because he can shoot you in some games. No doubt about that. All right, let's get to the comments. We got F2P. What is the latest with GP2? It's radio silence. Every restricted free agent, I think, at this point, it's just radio silence. I don't know if any of these restricted free agents have really had the strings pulled at all. So who knows with GP2, but the latest that we've heard is that he will likely be moving on, or the Warriors will likely be moving on from GP2. So I would be shocked to see him back unless it's vet minimum type money. So we will see there. Kai says Buddy's trash. He's just a nice personality. One person's trash is another person's treasure. Let's just say that for the second straight show. He put up 33 in that game 7, which was a whole lot of fun. Buddy's an amazing shooter when there's no one in his face. Pretty awesome. Set it like a record, right, at the All-Star weekend. So he can do that. We got, all right, Matt's agreeing with me. Sign Gabe Madsen, lights out shooter. He's 6'6". He's been that way for a long time. I mean, I watched his tape going back to Minnesota because, like I said, he signed with my Cats, and took him a minute to start heating up, but he catches and he's got a quick release, and he does have enough size to get it off at a pretty good clip. Like I said, was shooting them 10 times a game at Utah, but was taking ridiculous shots. He's shooting movement, JJ Redick type threes to where the feet aren't set. He's just launching up anything. And he knocked down a lot tonight, may even have more than 6 when it's all said and done. We got Felix saying, look, Looney had his limits, solid player, but not good enough to have him playing solid minutes. I think that's the takeaway here, regardless of how much you hate Steve Kerr. And there's a lot of Steve Kerr hatred in these comments from time to time. I mean, look, he's not jerking around Jimmy Butler, Steph Curry, Draymond Green's minutes. Those are very consistent, and they're consistent for a reason. And Kevon Looney's were inconsistent for a reason. And that is because when push comes to shove, he lacks some things that you need. And in certain games, it just doesn't make sense to give Loon a lot of run. But he should be given a lot of love because he was the man, to say the least. So, yeah, kind of what we have. The Powers family, hard to believe Looney's complaining, but you never know. Wasn't a complaint. It was more of just frustration, right? Basically saying that it got kind of annoying that young players kept coming in and taking away my time. Although, because think about it, he was so good in 2022 and even in the 2023 playoffs in that Kings series, he made Sabonis look terrible. He was great. And the following season, 23-24, just didn't look as swift, looked a little bit older, didn't look great. And then this following season, again, it's not like he had consistent playing time. They weren't giving him 25 minutes of run ever. It was 2 minutes sometimes. It was 8 minutes sometimes. So he's frustrated. And if he has some resurgence where he's playing 30 minutes a night in New Orleans and he's a big part of an upstart Pelicans team, maybe we can have that discussion. But my general takeaway is just that he's a role player, and that's what happens when you're a role player. You get games where you don't play a ton. You're not getting consistent minutes. You're getting the playing time that the coach asks of you. So that is what we will finish the show with. Loon Dog forever, Kai. Loon Dog forever. We do salute you, Loon Dog. Legend. All right, Warriors still haven't done anything. Playing in the Summer League. Aside from that, we're still waiting on the first domino to fall. We did hear that the JK negotiations and everything would probably pick up in Vegas as the Warriors higher ups were talking to other teams, seeing who wanted Kuminga, who was willing to offer whatever. I will say this, Devin Carter looks a little bit better than he did a few days ago because apparently even the blind squirrel can find a nut every once in a while, or in this case, even a terrible shooter can hit water every once in a while. He hit like 7 threes the other day, had 30 points. So, boy, would that suck if Devin Carter just ends up being a monster, because he does have some athleticism and a nice wingspan and projects to be a pretty good defender. But I think we've seen a large enough sample size of Devin Carter to not be too excited about that trade at this point. It's a summer league game. Congrats. He scored 30. Matt George acting like he's the next Gary Payton and not the second. I'm talking the glove. So let's hold our horses a little bit, folks. Let's hold our horses. All right, Locked On Warriors. Thanks for everyone joining the live edition. Have a great day, everyone. Peace. Free and available wherever you get your audio podcasts. And, of course, on YouTube. Hit that like on the way out. Subscribe. Loon Dog forever. See ya.